Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I am here with Blue Lightning. Hello, Blue. How are you?
I am Blue Lightning, aka Elijah Melchizedek. I'm also known as a Great White Brotherhood, part of the Great White Brotherhood, within the Telosian, sort of a Telosian Secret Service that deals with the inner earth and multiple facets of the inner earth and different secret societies that lie within the cities of Agartha. And being a member of the Melchizedek order, along the lines of having these different access points within Telos, primarily in Mount Shasta and parts of the Appalachian, there are these different unique doorways, portals, access points, and stargates that lie upon the surface of our planet as well as within the hollowness of our planet. There are a lot of unique things that have occurred over the course of my life that all point to how the energy of the planet, aligned with the energy of the Great Galactic Central Sun, is activating and awakening multiple people into full remembrance throughout the world.
Amazing. Thank you for that. Blue Lightning and I actually met, I don't know, was it like a month-ish ago now? Kind of. Um, Over in Mount Shasta. We ran into him literally on the road, me and the girls. And I guess just had like a very magical experience after that. He heard us say the word Stargate, and that is what activated our conversation. And he ended up taking us to the largest Stargate in the world for the next day for some activations and basically some grid work and some mission work for the girls and I. Am I allowed to say that? I think I am. Yeah, okay. Um, and now he's just become a part of the fam. So I'm happy to have you here today, and I'm really excited to do this series. I think you're gonna drop a lot of knowledge for people that is gonna be necessary for the
Record.
awakening.
It was actually Alexis who mentioned Stargate, and then everybody else just kind of, "What's the Stargate? Oh my god!" And then Alexis, I've heard Alexis explaining Stargate Atlantis, SG-1, and most of what those seasons and shows were. And I'm like listening. I'm just having my dinner, and I'm like, "Oh no, Telosian Secret Service activations are about. I know what's about to happen, but I'm just gonna go with the flow." And then leave the mountain. And I'm like, hold on, time out. This is not just about a photo. There's more going on here than what meets the eye. And I almost sounded a little over the top, but I was like, if you knew who I was, blah blah blah. Because that night I was on the verge of leaving, like leaving Mount Shasta, and I was told and guided to be in that exact point in time so that I would be put into service, put into action, put into the knowledge that I was training for to be able to show others all about, especially one of the biggest stargates in the world, natural stargates to be to be correct, because there's a difference between an artificial stargate and a natural stargate. And it was a big honor. It was a big responsibility, but also one that led to a large series of events that are happening even right now.
Yeah. So literally so much has happened. Our lives blew up in the best way possible, just rapid ascension. Do you want to explain what a Stargate is and then what a natural versus was it man-made Stargate, just so that the people listening who don't know what a Stargate is can understand what we're talking about?
Okay, this is a loaded question. It's not my favorite answer because there's so much science to it that I'm not even able to give it justice.
High level, just high level.
So a natural stargate is utilizes the natural elements on the earth from the earth, either built by the ancients or built by some form of species or another, with all the natural elements you see pretty much on the surface to within the earth. And it's built in a configuration that will align to natural, harmonic, organic ascension. Their Stargate will have a more natural response and usually be built in nature. Typically, it will be found, discovered, and or built in nature. It is not the same thing as a vortex, a portal, or even an interdimensional doorway. They're not the same things. A Stargate is definitely a circle or some form of oval or some form of shape that is, that is configured in a way where it'll help the person's light body and their, in some cases, their physical body from traveling from points A to points B or to different points in time and space, depending on what level of intelligence and intention is put in to that experience with that natural Stargate. Most natural Stargates will always be very beneficial and benevolent and also quite uplifting and very, like, it's meant for healing purposes more than actually traveling purposes, to be honest. And an artificial Stargate, it's almost like you don't even want to know what that is, because if I were to explain it, it's a little fear-based. And
Okay.
artificial Stargates are by AI, or some form of artificial intelligence, not presuming that all AI is bad. This is another subject for another day. I'm not getting into that right now. But an artificial Stargate is usually going to be in some kind of building, in some kind of military base, in some form of artificial structure, typically a box or some kind of room that is very metallic, usually very metallic in nature. And even though some of the ingredients or some of the substances came from the earth to force build that Stargate utilizing artificial intelligence, it is typically for very malevolent purposes and will typically trick a soul or a person into some form of false ascension matrix that the person or the beings who built it usually don't even know why they're building it. And it's because of AI, artificial intelligence, encroaching or enforcing upon that stuff. It doesn't usually end well for people that travel through artificial Stargates. They wind up not even coming back from the experience, nor do they're less likely to even remember the experience when they travel through or work with an artificial Stargate. So there are those like that do exist. Very few of them are benevolent, but most of them have been known to be very nefarious for whatever reason or another. And there's a lot of reasons why that is, and a lot of species involved. Not as many of those species exist on the planet this exact day and time, as opposed to 10, 20 years ago. There were a lot more, even further back. So you're less likely to discover and find an artificial Stargate because it's not out in nature. They're just not out in nature. They're some form of building structure or some hidden base or visible where you can't even see it, even if you wanted to see it.
Honestly, that's probably a good thing with the way that you just described what happens when you use an artificial Stargate. It's probably good. People can't just like stumble upon them and find them. So it was funny because when we went to the Stargate that you took us to, we literally were traveling through time in that moment. And I remember at the very end, so the girls and I were in Shasta because we were hosting a retreat. And we were supposed to be there that morning to set up the house. And then obviously this whole Stargate thing happened and we were like, well, we have to go. Like it's a sign. So we had a very like hard cutoff time in order to get to the Airbnb and set everything up before the girls got there, whatever. And so we're like, okay, dude, we got to go. Like, we need to turn around and go back. And you look at us and you're like, okay, well, we can't finish the sequence then, but there's one other thing. that if you guys don't do, it'll take you like 3 to 5 years to heal yourself. And we all just looked at each other and we were like, fuck. So we went to this thing and, you know, we did the last one. But then as we were just in Shasta, it's like we were stuck in this like time warp in between timelines and just rapidly ascending through time and processing and healing and doing all of these freaking things. And then when we left, it was like we were just completely new people. It was insane. Insane.
That's how it can be. And the sequence that they ultimately everybody needed to finish, including me, wasn't just for them, me too,
Yeah.
was a type of multi-universal forgiveness, what I call multi-universal forgiveness. So much so that it's not even things that you would think to forgive, because it's not even things that are happening in this concurrent timeline of reality. I'm talking about all things throughout all space and time that needed some form of addressing or forgiveness or releasing or cleansing or detoxing, and it had to happen because they all left before the sequence was complete. It would have taken a very long time for everybody to finish it, and the likelihood of anybody coming back to Shasta would have been very low, little to none, based on the configuration of people that were there too.
Wait,
And
so
then
then
it would have taken me a long time.
did we finish it?
In a way, you did.
Okay, good. Thank God.
You did things that have yet to happen to prove to you and everyone that was there that it actually happened. But in a way, it happened because it's happening through simultaneous time.
Okay. That makes sense. That was a big side note. But do you want to give everyone a little bit of information about what it is you actually do? So I know you mentioned like Telosian Secret Service, but here in the 3D world, what you do to help, like, so people like us, for example, how you took us to the Stargate to complete this mission, like just, you know.
There's a lot of 10 or more, but
Okay.
I'm going to figure out how to way to bring it down to 5. The most crucial thing I do, and it started officially the moment I moved and started living in Shasta, and that was, and still is, being an animal communicator, a communicator for animals, plants, species, you name it. I've had more clients and people come to me about their cat and their dog than their own selves.
Maud, wait, can I tell you something? So do you remember when I asked you or I asked you to teach me telepathy and you were like, just ask a dog because they're the best at it. So I'm in Costa Rica now. And I asked my friend's dog, the friend I'm living with, I just looked at it and I was like, Chispa, can you teach me telepathy? And they wiggled their ears and I was like, great. And then I was like, okay, what do you want to tell me? And the dog runs into my room and goes under the bed. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what? I was so confused. I was like, okay. And then so I go and I look under and I'm like, Chispa, like, what's going on? And I see that there is a extension cord there to plug things into. And literally an hour before, I had been in that room trying to find a plug beside my bed to put my lamp and my phone charger into. And I couldn't find one anywhere. So the dog literally ran and showed me exactly what I had just been trying to find. And I was like, no way. It was really cool, but nothing since. So
that in itself is a good example of literally how animals, birds included, will teach the most basic, like a serendipitous moment, things that would seem like a coincidence but are in fact not. So animal communication is very near and dear, including the way the girls had left Shasta in the priestess portal. There were horses that showed up, and there was a white horse and a brown horse, and we were just enjoying their majestic beauty and just sitting in the car and just kind of beaming them love. But really, at some point, I knew that the horses were gonna like get closer to us and want to communicate with us more deeply. So that's what in fact did happen, because horses were in fact the first animal species I learned this type of animal communication and telepathy with. And it's not like they're talking out loud and speaking English. It doesn't work like that. It's very subtle overtones and very subtle forms of body language and movement, including something as simple as an ear, movement. It's multiple different things, but animal communication, in fact, sometimes my favorite. Working with animals, they don't give me a problem like some humans sometimes do. They're not going to complain about what isn't being done. They're more likely going to want things to get done. And usually it's for their owner and or for the land that they live on, such as if it's a bird, the birds will fly in very direct and odd configurations just to get my attention, to send a message to me and tell me this is what's happening in this area. Can you help out with this? And I would be like, okay, birds, hold on. Let me tune into my higher self and tune into the councils of light. And that is communicating with the higher self. My own higher self is one thing, so is everyone else's. But having the ability to communicate with everyone's higher self, no matter who they are, no matter where they are on the planet, no matter even if I don't know them or not, I could literally, get a picture and a name of that person and where they are on the planet and start communicating via higher mind telepathy with that person's higher self, and interwoven with that people's lower self and shadow self and inner child that are just as significant and important. And that all has a basis in natural healing and natural forms of getting really distinct divine messages across that normally would take that person a really long time to find out. The most fascinating part about that ability or that skill is helping people to connect themselves with their spirit guides, with their higher self, and hopefully, eventually, with the councils of light. And communicating with the councils of light is a whole other ability and skill set unto itself, because there's multiple councils and courts and committees and assemblies and parliaments, and it's sometimes not easy knowing which is which, but everybody all has their own personal council 12, no matter who they are. And that is the best thing to focus on more than anything, is everyone's own individual personal council 12, and finding out which of spirit guides are truly helping you. And I had this conversation the other night, and there's some spirit guides that really aren't helping, and they do need to be fired. Like, it sounds so weird, but there are some people's spirit guides, like after a while, they're not doing their job. They need to be replaced by something or someone greater. And
how do you know? How do you know?
You know, based on if you're not hearing anything, sensing anything, if there's no signs happen, if there's really nothing happening, you have some spirit guides, but you don't know why you're not hearing anything or even getting any help. That means those spirit guides are not doing their job. They're just not. Like, it could be like an angel guardian angel that you got when you were 8 years old. Well, that 8-year-old self needed that guardian angel then, but she may not need that guardian angel now.
That makes sense.
Maybe fire is not the best word, but it's more about telling them you don't need their help anymore and replacing them in with someone better, something better, a better spirit guide.
That makes sense.
Rarely do I get any questions about what about my future lives.
Oh my God. Okay, let me ask. What about my future life? Tell me something from it. Do I have to come back to Earth? Am I going to be back home in the stars? What's the vibe? What am I doing?
Well, because you're predominantly Pleiadian, you're almost automatically going to go back to Pleiades for a little while.
Good.
Before you're to get your mission and to come back to Earth.
I am coming back?
Well, everyone, including me, has been told that this is our last life and that we're not coming. It's not totally true. We are coming back, but into the distant future. At some point, you're going to get the mission statement or mission spec, and that's come back to Earth during the year 27 to 2900 AD, and this is the reason why.
Oh, geez. 27. At least I know the year now, 27 to 2900.
That distant future version of a lot of ourselves is the reason why we even incarnated now.
Mm.
We have to briefly incarnate there in the distant future to be able to send us information in the distant past to complete the whole circuit
Interesting.
of solving a massive karmic paradox that has been happening for eons. And once
I thought that people reincarnating now weren't reincarnating with karma. Or are you not talking about personal karmas?
this is galactic karma.
Okay.
This is exactly what I spoke about last time, 5 years ago. This is galactic karma, and most people don't even know there is galactic karma. Not to mention, right now there is a lot less personal karma than there's ever been, and one of the main reasons why, and there's going to be some people who disagree. A lot of karma is artificial, and it's artificially constructed and created to keep people in a loop in the matrix. Once someone figures out that a lot of the karma is artificial, they step out of that karmic wheel, they jump off the karmic wheel, and they move into their dharma, and they start embodying their divine purpose. And in that regard, there's no more karma anymore, and you finally get to ascend and live life fully transformed without much interference anymore.
Okay. That
But
makes a lot of
galactic
sense.
karma might come in, and people ask me questions about their galactic lifetimes and other realities, and that's where it gets really interesting, because the galactic karma is more of the natural, organic side that needs to be resolved so that you can have a full galactic ascension instead of just a planetary ascension.
Interesting. Okay. So I know that my light body's hella activated, my diamond, crystalline, rainbow, light body, whatever. I think I got them all. But something that I still laugh about to this day, and it reminded me of it because you said galactic karma, was when you told me that I was the ruler of 3 galaxies and I had to make some huge decision. And then you just nonchalantly go, but you redeemed yourself. I was like, okay, wait, so what decision did I make and what happened? So that's like, I guess, an example of galactic karma, like something I'd now have to heal. Okay. I don't know why.
Well,
It just
that
makes
was
me laugh.
goes
Like, oh,
back
you redeemed yourself.
back omni-universal forgiveness.
Mm,
And if you didn't do that in that moment, you wouldn't have redeemed yourself.
okay.
It's if you could see it through my eyes and see the spirals of evolution of all these realities, timelines, dimensions, which is wild. It's like a holographic movie in my mind.
So cool.
What decision you made was you prevented an entire you helped prevent this galaxy from being completely consumed and wiped out.
Wait, so isn't that a good thing?
You did only after there was some form of, now this is like galactic gossip, okay? It's only after some form of blackmail was involved at
Mm,
council level, which nobody knew at that level for a long time, that there were beings working negatively within the Galactic Federation. And thankfully, those from the intergalactic universal worlds of councils came in to step in as representatives to show you especially, how to redeem yourself so that those worlds didn't get consumed and blow up, and mainly this galaxy didn't get consumed and blow up. You weren't the
interesting.
only involved, like you weren't like the sole hero involved per se, but
Mm,
you were a major catalyst chain reaction preventing the total annihilation from happening.
so interesting. I wish that I could have the memory of these and see it the way that you see it. Because all this stuff to me sounds like a movie or like a book I could read. Like it sounds so cool that I would love to just watch it, you know? I wish I had the same mind's eye like
The
that.
most I usually get to see is when decisions are being made on council.
Mm,
within the vision being on council, there's a whole holographic movie thing going on for everybody to witness and see, because the more transparent and honest and integral we all are on council, the better. So we all have to see what each other are doing.
That makes sense.
Then we're like, well, why is so-and-so hiding what they're doing? And then we have to find out why so-and-so is hiding what they're doing. And then for your case, it was a big one. It was a big decision, because it was like in the center of 3 different galaxies, the 3 primary galaxies that had like a major implication of how you would then live your life down here.
Interesting. So I was being blackmailed. I wasn't blackmailing. Or okay.
Being blackmailed.
Wonderful. I was nervous for a second that I was the blackmailer, and I was like, oh shit.
Almost convinced us on council that you and those like you were responsible for, I don't know the words for it.
That's
this
okay.
I don't know, this type of psychological warfare that was going on in Pleiades at the time.
So interesting. Okay. So I don't want to get stuck on this for too long. You have Melchizedek in your name. And I know you want to share about the Order of Melchizedek and the origin story there and the history. So do you want to start tapping into that and explaining to everyone what that is, the importance of it, etc.?
The order, thank God, the order in the office of Melchizedek is mentioned in multiple biblical and Torah reference points, but a lot of things were taken out from those books for good reasons, because the order of Melchizedek predates the order of the Christ. If it wasn't for the order of Melchizedek, there would be no order of the Christ, or vice versa. It's actually like we both interchange with each other, except the order of Melchizedek predates many millennia. So it goes back before there was even a biblical context to reference to. And mainly there for guarding, shielding, protecting, and aligning certain frequencies and essences within the grid lines of the planet, within the grids of the world. Simultaneously, the being an overseer of multiple timelines and multiple realities, and people's oversouls within certain soul family dynamics. So for every soul family group, there should at least be at least one Melchizedek, either a Melchizedek who knows they are, or a Melchizedek even ones who don't know who they are, because of how the blueprint of the planet works and operates. There were a lot of initiations, a lot of trainings, a ton of assignments and missions. These assignments and missions are still happening even right now. Henceforth, why I'm driving cross country again for like the 5th time, from California to North Carolina to New York, and then back. These types of trips and travels are traditionally what us Melchizedeks will do, depending on what post or what assignment we've been given. Some are given assignments for Europe or Greece or, other parts of the world. The next level assignments after the United States for someone like me as a Melchizedek is actually in Europe via Italy, and something to do with, trigger word, the Vatican. And it's not what people think. If it's not done the proper way, then people will still remain in a systematic control of religion. And religion was never meant to control humanity. Religion mixed with spirituality was always meant to liberate and free and help humanity ascend. So meanwhile, there's a lot going on in our own country that needs to be addressed for further strengthening and keeping the unified nature of the crystalline grid going. But there's multiple grids. It's not just one grid. And at any moment in time, I'm aware of about 10 different grids, depending on what's happening in each one. And the major thing that's happening now is destabilizing the artificial grids and turning off a lot of artificial stargates around the world, around the country, and then finding out if there are any good stargates that need to stay on that are artificial, and if there are, then they'll stay on. But there's a lot that came and comes with being a Melchizedek, because there's a lot of training involved, and there's a lot of training that can be taught to other people too.
Amazing. Does this have anything to do with the Melchizedek Starseed program? Can you talk a little bit about that, please? A lot of people will identify with being a starseed or a specific star race, but they've never even heard the term Melchizedek Starseed program.
We are our own team, and we are representatives of different rays of colors within that team. I'm a blue ray Elohim, Elohistic Melchizedek. There are other rays such as the green emerald ray. I'm a blue topaz ray. Sometimes I'm emerald, depending on if I'm with other emerald ray Melchizedeks, which are traditionally green emerald ray, but not limited to that. Then there are diamond ray beings that are traditionally orders of the rose and orders of the Magdalene and the Mary Magdalene lineage, that rightfully so, they earned their diamond ray lineage. And dominantly, a divine masculine Melchizedek cannot achieve full ascension on his own without some form of help with either a rose and or emerald ray Mary Magdalene lineage member.
So just throwing this out there, can you please also define the Elohim and then the Order of the Rose and Order of Mary Magdalene, because those are not common terms that people are going to know.
Well, most people will know the rose, the Order of the Rose. The far and few between, but most people will actually internally acknowledge that and just be like, huh, I get it.
Okay.
When it comes to the Emerald Order, this is associated with a literal race of beings from, I can't even give you an exact day and time, because time in history that a certain covenant was made with these Emerald Order beings to protect the planet and the Emerald Grid no matter what. The Emerald Grid gives the planet greenery and gives the planet its blue water and gives the planet its energy. If the Emerald Grid is messed up and screwed up via some form of interference or artificial intelligence, then there is no more greenery. Then there is no more blue water. In fact, way back when, the water used to be so blue that it was emerald blue, or it was turquoise blue everywhere. It didn't matter if it was the tropics or not. All the water everywhere used to be that.
The places that do still have that coloring, does that mean that the Emerald Grid is very strong in those places? Okay, interesting. Okay.
Which I'm kind of envious about you all enjoying your little paradise vacations, but some of us have to field for a little bit before we can get back there.
Hey, listen, I just went on a massive mission, okay? I was just in the field doing the work. Now I'm allowed to relax.
I know you are, but I won't be allowed a little while longer. The rose lineages are literally based on color too. White rose, pink rose, yellow rose, all the way up to frequencies like purple and blue rose, as well as gold rose. And person has to know if they're the Order of the Rose or not. And it's not strictly a woman who's a part of the Order of the Rose. It just predominantly is women. And very rarely do men get invited into that order unless they're already a Melchizedek or some form of cosmic Christed being with the right energy signature,
Mm-hmm.
name, and essence. More women that are within the Order of the Rose, if they remember it or not. And if they remember even a little bit of it, it's more than enough.
Okay. In terms of the Melchizedeks, do you have to have that in your name to be one or not? Like, how will people be able to identify?
Actually, it's ideal the way the original funny talking about this now after the fact. I'm talking millennium after the fact. We took an oath of secrecy to not say a damn thing until a special moment in time. And every one of us were given specifics of when those special moments in future lifetimes would be. So way back when, including this life, but I'm talking ancient times, lined up with this time where some point past the year 2010 to 2012, I was allowed to tell only a select few people that I am a Melchizedek. Most people will do one of two things. They'll put it in their actual name on social media, and or literally be given the divine right legally to change it in their name. And I haven't gone to that far extent because I'm one of the few Blu-ray Melchizedeks left after being killed off. That if I were to suddenly legally put it in my name, which I'm allowed to, I would then be further targeted worse than I've been. But on a lighter note, those who do put it in their name are representing one facet among many other facets, including Lady Melchizedeks, which are not as common, predominantly divine masculine Melchizedeks, which are more common.
When you say targeted, do you mean galactically or in the 3D?
Both.
Oh, really? I didn't realize 3D too. That's so interesting.
Sadly, both.
Wow.
I don't want anyone to ever have to go through that again. And most of us aren't nowadays. Back then, 10 plus years ago, or 20, 30, 40, even all the way back to World War II. I mean, most world wars are not even what is being shown on TV. Most of those are actually psychic wars.
Do you want to give people a couple tips on how they can psychically protect themselves?
Salt is your best friend.
Doing what with salt?
Anything and everything. Almost anything and everything. There are probably 100 homeopathic remedies with salt that can be used to neutralize, harmonize, and uplift any environment.
Mm-hmm.
Without going into too much detail, it is the great harmonizer and the great neutralizer at the same time. Certain types of salt, even generic dollar store salt you buy at the store, that in of itself is more than enough to set very specific parameters of protection, such as you want to clean your carpet, you want to vacuum your carpet. Well, before you vacuum your carpet, sprinkle some salt a bit of everywhere, let it sit for a few hours, then you vacuum your carpet. Boom, your carpet is now officially neutralized and harmonized at a much different stabilized frequency to prevent stagnant energy and to little parasitical things that will try to latch on to people's ankles and feet and cause all kinds of weird anomalies just through salt. And I'm not just talking about salt baths too, but salt baths are important, if not just as important as foot baths with salt in it. And then the rarefied frequency is monoatomic minerals and ormus salt that is like literally fuel for the light body.
I wonder if I could find that in Costa Rica. It'd be interesting to find out. No, just straight up, no.
There's only a handful of people and companies that I trust, and one of them is called ZPEC, zeropointtech.com. And the first one I ever really experimented with was a mineral compound known as lucid, and it's in the name. It did activate all kinds of lucid dreams, lucid memories, lucid abilities. And the more I took, the stronger my lucidity became.
Interesting. Okay, noted. So listeners, if you want to work on your lucid dreaming, this is what you should try.
Well, that's one of the 10 plus abilities I have, is helping people both activating their lucid dreams, interpreting their dreams, and especially recently downloaded a new program known as dream mapping, which is beyond lucid dreaming.
Ooh, okay, wait, what is dream mapping?
I just downloaded it not too long ago, like a couple months ago, in a random town called New Hope, Pennsylvania. It wasn't so random about the history behind that town. And it made me laugh and made me think about A New Hope in Star Wars. And it also deals with the Elohim of hope. And basically, it was to help give people back hopefulness in their dreams, in their visions, in their creations and desires, to tap into a higher, more transitorial state of lucid dreaming.
That's really cool.
It's
Really cool.
not just about dreaming in the mind anymore. It's about dreaming into the galactic central sun, or dreaming into the heart of creation, or dreaming in your own heart, or dreaming in the heart of the earth, or heart of any planet or any world you want to go to.
Wow. That's intense. That's a lot.
Literally directing your mind, your consciousness to A, dream here in the heart first, and then B, project that same energy and dreaming in the center of the earth, or the heart of the earth, higher dimensionally, and or simultaneously dreaming in the heart of the galaxy.
That is so cool. How did you activate that?
That was already pre-activated with all the Melchizedek initiations and teachings. I took it kind of for granted and thought, oh, everybody could do this. I come to find out, no, not everybody can. And barely do people lucid dream. And then when they do, they're just dreaming in their own brains, their own minds. And they're like, why are my lucid dreams so messed up? And I'm like, well, it's because you're not dreaming into the central sun, of the central core of creation.
How do you tell the difference? Like if someone does lucid dream, how can they tell where they're dreaming?
It'll feel different too before you go to bed and when you wake up. It'll feel like you dreamt up here and there's all this cloudiness and energy up here. But if you dream in your heart, almost automatically the lucid dreams that come from the heart are universally good. They're pleasant, they're benevolent, you have great experiences, you have full control. You're dreaming with other people who are also dreaming in the heart, also known as, this is a whole nother subject unto itself, global galactic unity dreamtime societies.
Whoa. So it's like, and excuse my 3D-ness here, is it like when you play a video game with a bunch of other people online and you're all playing together? Okay.
Yeah,
I feel like it's like the simplest way to like explain it in 3D.
Log in, choose where you want to go, or sometimes your spirit guides will choose for you, or the councils will choose. You'll go there, you'll link up like in a role-playing game, and you'll be like, wow, I'm around my other Palladian starseed family, dreaming with them on this other world.
That's so cool. I love that.
You become aware of it. And the coolest thing about it for me, it used to be scary, but it's now become the coolest thing, is I will sometimes literally wake up in another bed, in another time frame, or in another world.
In the 3D?
Know that I woke up in another bed, in this other realm, go to the bathroom, go to whatever the equivalent of a bathroom is in that realm or that society or that world, look at myself in the mirror and know I'm in another body or in another experience. And I'm like, live out this whole other reality, and then come back here and then wake up here and be like, whoa, and have memory.
Hold on. So you do this galactic unity dream time thing. You wake up in a whole different freaking timeline as a whole different avatar, but it's a real life. It's not dreaming anymore. You have to live it out, die in that life, and then you come back to Earth and keep
Don't die.
living here.
Jump into conclusion. There's a lot of avatars out there.
Wait, so then how do you live out that life? Like, how do you know it ends?
Or sleep, and then I wake up here.
Oh, so you just live the day, and then when that avatar goes back to sleep, you wake up on Earth.
Sometimes it's longer than a day, and I usually know when it is, and I'm like, oh, great, the sun just went up, the sun just went down.
That is wild.
If I'm around other people going through the same thing in that Dreamtime Society experience, then I can tell everyone. But most of the time, I'm not allowed to, based on what the councils ask me to, because I'm literally, well, my body's ascending or moving into a new frequency. I jump into my other avatar. Then that other avatar is either aware, the other being is either aware or not aware that I'm there. And then I live out a whole nother experience. Now, sometimes, and this is where it's easier for me to handle, it's just other versions of me in alternate realities.
So do you, when you do this, even if it isn't an alternate you, do you have all of their memories and everything? So you know, that is so freaking cool. I mean, I can see how the first couple times that would be a little scary because you're like, what the hell's going on? But that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the last time it happened really strong consistently for days upon days in a row was when I was living in Mount Shasta more consistently. And it happened every single night, like every night.
Why does that not surprise me that it was Mount Shasta?
And after a while, even being there this past time, and when I get back eventually, it was happening even then. It was happening again. That mountain, Mount Shasta, is also nicknamed Dream Mountain for a reason.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, and so then Mount Shasta also is just a massive, massive energy vortex portal, etc. Can you talk about a little bit how the energy of the planet, so somewhere like Mount Shasta, works through other people actually awakening?
Simple. Every mountain around the world is connected to every other mountain. And every other mountain is connected to every pyramid. And now we're not just talking about pyramids in Egypt. There are hundreds of other pyramids in secrecy or a known site around the whole world. And depending on how close a person lives to their own sacred site or their own sacred mountain will determine if they can consciously tap in and tune into Mount Shasta, because Mount Shasta has all dimensions and realities and timelines converging in it simultaneously for everybody that passes through it or lives in it.
Wow.
So people can literally aim their own minds and spirits and light body to consciously send their spirit to dream with Mount Shasta, even if they're not living there right now.
So I could do that from here because I've been there, or can anyone do it?
Anyone can, but predominantly those who've already been there.
Okay. How do I do that? Just set the intention.
That's a teaching. You just don't do it in intention. I mean, you could, because there's a lot of shortcuts that will, like just setting an intention will be equivalent, but not the same as the full experience.
Okay. Maybe so I need to do some galactic school, it looks like.
Well, that also how to telepathically communicate with those from Telos. They want everybody to know the base minimum of telepathy. If the person base minimum of telepathy and they start to interact with Telos and Agartha down in the inner earth, that person can get really hurt. The person could get like in trouble and stuck down there for a while, and not come back. Sometimes rare, but it only happens when the person just was like, I'm gonna get into Telos no matter what, and I don't care, and blah blah blah, and then they kind of force themselves in, and then they're stuck.
For someone like me who has some roots in Telos, would that happen also?
No.
Like I could still get stuck or no?
Oh, you won't, because then they know who you are.
True. Okay.
And they know that you have a light body with a frequency high enough to be able to get you out, spin you out via like the light body spinning to get you back to your normal timeline.
Mm. Interesting. Okay. It's just like I don't know why, but for me, I just find this all so fascinating. And I think a lot of it is because I know that my higher self is doing a lot of shit, but she's not letting my 3D brain remember any of it. So I hear all these things and I'm like, oh, this is so fun.
A lot of people's higher selves are doing so much work, especially in the dream time. And I've been universally messaged to everyone because it's true. And that's the amount of work you're doing in dream time does convert to energy in this time. And there are ways you can ask your guides to compensate you for that extra work that you're doing.
Compensate how?
Or literally just be like, I don't want to do work in dream time anymore. Can I just sleep? Or I don't want to do work in dream time or even down here. Can I just have a vacation?
Wait, so why don't you ask that then if you're dying for a vacation?
I'm not really, I've had so many vacations. It's ridiculous. I go on these and then I do these trips that look like they're vacations and people thinking I'm on vacation, but I'm really on a mission. And there's a
Like
huge difference
Hawaii.
between a mission and a vacation, you know?
So like when we go to Hawaii, that'll look
I-
like a vacation, but it'll be hella mission.
Oh, but I guarantee you I'm going to get probably 25% some form of mission or something or another. It's always happens. So,
Yeah.
um,
Well, it is the heart chakra and Lemuria. So,
yeah, if I were to get a full vacation, I know what I would do. I know what my avatar would do, and he would still be like, "Well, send me back. I need to do more work. I need to teach more people because they don't know yet, and I want as many people to know as possible."
Okay, so I think we're just about at an hour. So on that note, what is the one thing that you want to teach the listeners or leave them with today?
Breathing into the heart, creating and manifesting from the heart,
Mhm.
aiming your mind and your visualizations to the heart of the galaxy and to the heart of the earth. Not all grounding via energetically is the same thing. So the next time you or yourself hears about or knows you need to ground into the higher dimensional aspects of Mother Earth Gaia. And when you do that, you will almost automatically be able to understand your own higher self and any of this information or any other information more easily when you ground simultaneously into the higher dimensions of Earth. And you have to set that intention out loud. I am grounding into the higher 5D plus realities of Earth. It just doesn't happen automatically. And simultaneously, literally, I call them sky roots, ground, levitationally speaking, with these energetic lines of light via your mind body to the center of the galaxy. And the more you set that intention out loud inside your own being, the more you'll be attuned coherently to the center of the galaxy, to the center of this local solar system, to the center of your own being, your own individual self, to the center of the earth, all simultaneously. And then everything else from there is like riding a bike or flying a plane
Or flying a
or
plane.
surfing.
You say that like flying a plane and surfing are not hard things to learn.
With the light body, anything is possible.
Very true. Very true. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for joining me today. And I'm really excited for the rest of the season where we're going to just dive into so much stuff. So thank you so much, Blue Lightning. This was fun.
Thank you.
Oh, shit. I just hit my mic. Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. As always, if you enjoyed the podcast, please give us a rating and a review and share with a friend because it helps more people learn and just helps them on their journey. Have a wonderful rest of your day coming from two people just like you.